Can you remember that special morning when you were getting dressed for your first day of kindergarten? The apprehension, the terror, but also the undeniable excitement you felt. You were about to step into a completely new world, filled with people who you had never encountered in your limited existence. Your most profound wish, the overwhelming goal that pressed down heavy on you like a weighted blanket, could be summarized with a simple question. Will I fit in? Will I have on the right sneakers? Will I be wearing the right clothes? Will I look similar enough to everyone else that I won't stand out? Because what we desperately want is to be accepted, to be part of the pack, to belong. What fascinates me about that moment is how much that early question continues to dominate our thinking for the rest of our lives. In so many respects, on so many levels, that query shapes the way we live. It never fully goes away. Recently, I was invited to the Kennedy Center Honors Award ceremony at the Opera House in Washington, D.C. It's a lovely special evening where luminaries gather in sartorial splendor to celebrate legends of stage and screen. I'm talking extreme black tie, fancy stuff. I made sure I had on my spiffiest tuxedo so that no one would look askance at me and wonder, what in the world could Jakes have been thinking? No, I had to look the part, which in this case meant looking like every other guy in the room. Whether it's corporate America, church, or school, in so many settings our greatest desire is to not stand out, to be homogeneous with the environment in which we find ourselves. When we step outside of our homes, we participate in a social contract that we all implicitly sign, whether we realize it or not. Behave as everyone else behaves. Dress like the rest of us. Don't attract too much notice. We know that our ability to fit in will sometimes determine whether we get the promotion, whether we get accepted into the sorority or the gang. And we will do whatever we have to do, get the grades, score the touchdowns, apply the makeup, buy the sneakers, steal the sneakers to fit into that group we covet. However, there is a hidden truth embedded inside this phenomenon. The people who are written into the history books, who make the Hall of Fame, who unearth world-changing discoveries, who become the exceptional amongst us, are not the ones who fit in. They are the disruptors, who decided they no longer cared about fitting in. They were seeking something else, something they determined was more important than being accepted. As a society, we have become conditioned to sit in our lives, to accept our circumstances, however unpleasant they may be, while we wait for someone to come along and save us. As we watched television, flocked to the movies, read the newspaper, we were trained to think that if our life went askew, someone would save us. In my day, it was Superman, Batman, and the Lone Ranger. Today, it's Wakanda, the Black Panther, and there are also the real-life heroes like John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., Jesse Jackson, Nelson Mandela, and Barack Obama. We even put their pictures up on the wall as if to give them a better vantage point to bear witness to our suffering need. If only we were a little more patient, they would rescue us from our circumstances. Why do we need saving? Sometimes it's because of the bad choices of someone else, such as a parent, spouse, or particularly malicious boss. But more times than not, it's because of the choices we make ourselves. In physiological terms, perhaps our prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain that allows us to foresee possible implications for our actions and stop us from impulsive mistakes, didn't activate with enough force to stop us from making the kinds of decisions that would put us in precarious situations that require rescue. The older we get, The longer we live, the more we realize that we are born looking like our parents, but we die looking like our decisions.